What's good, Knicks Nation? Giannis Antetokounmpo, he may have dropped a major hint. Could Giannis be making his way to New York soon? Mike Brown, he finally gave his first speech at the press conference. Are you buying it? Does Mike Brown actually sound like, well, he definitely sounds the part, but will he be the part? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Summer League. Lackluster showing in Summer League. We'll talk about that. Unfortunately, we have to talk about that. Starting lineup. Who starts? Who comes off the bench? Josh Hart to the bench. We'll see if that's a possibility. Oh, and by the way, guys, this week, Smoke of the Week is back. I got an interesting Smoke of the Week segment. Of course, Word on the Street, Comment of the Week, and much more on This Week Inside the Knicks. What's up, Knicks Nation? Welcome to the show. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective Fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. And you know the vibes, y'all. Salute to everybody in the building. I am your host tonight. Little late night show, right? Late night session of the show. Normally this show is a early morning, afternoon show. I'm doing it this week because some of you guys may know I will be right after this show. Make sure you guys are in the building. I will be on Still Knick Fans for Still Knick Fans Weekly. So I figured, you know what? Let me just do the double header lineup and promote both shows back to back. So hopefully you guys will be in the building. Right after this show ends, I will be on Still Knick Fans. So I hope to see you guys there. Also, this week is my birthday week, y'all. Right? Salute to me, right? My birthday is Friday. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the call-up show from Friday to Thursday. Probably around 9:30, 10. I'll do the call-up show Thursday. So that way we could do the stream and we could ring in my birthday together while we on the stream. So got a special call-up this Thursday. Be on the lookout for that. And also, if it doesn't rain or if it's not too crazy hot, I will be hooping tomorrow. So look out for that too. We will be live streaming. So, but I want to give a big time salute to everybody that's in the chat. I see you, Crim's dad. I see you, Knicks will be champs. I see you, Danny. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Thank you, man. Thank you, Keith, for the early Earth Day wishes, man. I do appreciate it. I've got some people in the building. Okay. Definitely smash that like button on the way in. Of course, this is episode 6 of the 25 off season, right? We're talking about all the hot topics between the 7th and the 13th. A couple of things took place. We had Summer League, and yeah, we'll get to Summer League in a second. But yeah, it was a pretty, you know what I'm gonna say? Of course, you have Summer League and the press conference. Outside of that, nothing really much going on. A lot of speculation, and you know, Giannis Antetokounmpo toying around with us. We'll talk about that. But I'm trying to think, make sure I got all my bases covered. All right, we're going to jump into research mode. So, bam. So, if you don't know, this podcast is also associated with a blog that's kind of like a weekly digest on thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. The URL link you see at the bottom of the screen, which when you get here, all you have to do, you scroll down, you see, bam, latest news, and you'll see we're talking about episode 6 today. So, all of the news articles we'll be looking at will be between this time frame, and all of the sources will be listed here. So just in case there's some things that we don't speak about and you might want to check it out, all you got to do is go to This Week Inside the Knicks. Every Monday morning, I upload a new entry into this series, and it has everything. So there might be some things you know about, but there may be more things that you didn't know about, and that's what this blog pretty much covers. Every single thing. Now, of course, for time's sakes, I'm not going to read everything, but I'm going to start off with the press conference. There's a couple of things with the press conference that I want to touch on that, of course, we didn't get the chance to speak because this press conference took place after, we finished our last stream. But anyway, nonetheless, I do want to talk about this because some of you guys know that I'm really kind of, I have high standards and expectations for this Knicks team, right? Some of you guys know I always mention that I have Leon Rose on my own personal hot seat, right? He's not on the hot seat. Leon Rose is not on the hot seat because some people think when I say that, they really believe that Leon Rose is on the hot seat. He's not. He's on my personal hot seat, right? Because in my mind, this team is the best team in the Eastern Conference, and I do think that it's finals or bust. Not saying we have to win the championship this year. I would like to win the championship this year, but we got to at least get to the finals, right? New coach or not. And that's what I loved about Mike Brown, because Mike Brown said that our goal is to build a sustainable winning culture, right, that produces championship. That's why I'm here. I'm fortunate to know what it takes to create that success, a lot of hard work, a high level of commitment, and focus on today. But mind you, this guy has been to 6 finals on 3 different teams, right? He actually went to the finals one time back in the day when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where LeBron went to his first finals. He was the coach of that team, right? So this guy, he's been around success. He knows what success is like. I like that that's the goal, because that's my goal for them. So I'm happy that that is a realistic goal, even though he did say also he want to build a winning culture, right? But winning and advancing seems to be at the top of the list of the priorities, right? And Mike Brown's, he's embracing the lofty expectations, right? I was happy to see about that, he says nobody has any bigger expectations, first of all, than I do. My expectations are high. I will be holding them accountable to these high expectations because I also have high expectations for these guys, right? This is the Knicks. We talked about Madison Square Garden being iconic. Facts. We talked about our fans. I love and embrace the expectations that come along with it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as well. Okay? I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm happy that we're still aiming high, right? We're aiming high. I think that that's very important for our development and where we are as a team. I might do content on this, but pretty much this year is important because it really decides the future of this roster as we know it, because next year we will be a second apron team. And it seems like, and this offseason is not over yet. We're hard capped at the second apron. So we can't enter the second apron restrictions. So it seems like over the last couple of years, as we've passed the salary cap, that we haven't found any interest in becoming a second apron team. That changes next season. So yes, there's salary dumps. You could do what Boston did, but I do think that if this roster does not produce to the level, these goals that we're talking about, high expectations, I think that this could be the end of the roster as we know it, whether it be subtle tweaks or just a complete retool where, all of our major assets are up for grabs. What else? Here's another thing I was kind of worried about, and I'm still a little worried about it. Mike Brown emphasizes forming a partnership with, he puts emphasis on forming a partnership with Leon Rose, and the goal is to build a sustainable winning culture. We talked about that, right? Now, I was concerned initially about the collaboration part, and I talked about this a little bit on the call-up show. By the way, check out that call-up show we did on Friday. I was super late. I had a crazy day that day, but we managed to get a call-up show in. But I was saying that I really do think that, especially that he has a relationship with Leon Rose, CAA Mafia. I get the importance of the collaboration in terms of working together to, build this team, how we want it, who's a Mike Brown type of guy, this guy fits the system. All of that's great, right? Fantastic. I have no issues with that. My thing is, I want Mike Brown to have the same autonomy that Leon Rose has in the front office, where Dolan is there to hold him accountable. Dolan does not intervene in Leon Rose's basketball decisions. I think when it comes to coaching decisions, whether it be lineups, right, whether it be players in the lineups, I hope that he is given the autonomy to do that without feeling the pressure of the front office bearing down on him saying, no, you got to play Deuce McBride, right? You got to pay Tyre Kolek, right? We want those decisions to be his, right? But I do think that in listening to him explain some of the things, he says, I'm looking forward to working with Leon, forming a great partnership with our shared common goal of winning a championship, right? Brown said in the news conference. So I have no issues with that. And I'm hoping that Mike Brown genuinely has the autonomy to make the deals. I mean, well, not the deals, the decisions for coaching standpoint. Now, here's what I want to talk. There's a lot more. Like I said, all these articles here are comments from the press conference. So if you want to see everything that was said in the press conference, you can go, knock yourself out. Go ahead, click on all the articles. All you got to do is go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com and you'll be able to see it there. But here's what I want to talk about. And this is one thing I don't understand, right? A lot of people are talking about double big lineup, right? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, this article talks about it. So Mike Brown, one of the things he said at the press conference is that he wants to play with pace. He wants to play at a faster pace. So my question is, how do we play at a faster pace when you have a double big lineup? Mitchell Robinson's going to slow you down. So I'm curious to see if Mitchell Robinson is the guy for the job, how he plans to make us play faster with Cat at the 4. And I'm just curious to see how that happens. But Kolek is a guy who's been mentioned, and we're going to talk about Kolek and his summer league struggles. But clearly he wants to play at a faster pace. And I'm beginning to believe, guys, that OG Anunoby at the 4 might be our best bet. Because it's not like he can't defend fours, especially perimeter-centric fours. You don't have too many bully, big, back you down type power forwards in the league. Most of those guys are not really there. I mean, you have your Randalls, but OG Anunoby, I feel confident in his ability to stay with a Randall, right? Even a Bobby Portis he's not a banger in the paint like that. Even Naz Reid, a lot of those big guys they start their offense out on the perimeter. Jaren Jackson, those guys are all perimeter centric. Even Mobley, right? Mobley, size-wise, he doesn't outweigh OG. He's taller, but he's not going to be able to just back down and bully OG. So right now, the way I'm looking at it, OG Anunoby at the 4 might be the move. Because a lot of you guys don't like Yabu Sali. OG at the 4, you keep your ability to run at a faster pace. And now Mikal Bridges can be a 3. Hopefully, if you get a real 2 guard in the lineup, which is something I think we'll talk about a little bit later. But, if you could move Mikal to the 3, because I think that will really benefit Mikal as well. So I'm beginning to see the lineup would probably include those 2 guys at the forwards. And then you could put Clark. I know a lot of you guys don't like Clarkson to start, but you need a 2 guard that's going to be able to guard point guards, period, right? Ball handling, playmaking guards. You need somebody that can do that. Is it Deuce McBride? I don't know. Tyler Kolek was mentioned here. But yeah, I just don't see the double big lineup working. Let me look into the chat. Salute to everybody that just joined the chat. If you did join the chat, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Everybody smash on that like button, okay? So we could get more cool Knicks fans in here. And if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. Let me see. I got some new blood in here. New time, new blood. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. The official payback. Thank God I'm not the coach. Okay. So who's your lineup? Who's your lineup? I'm here for the smoke. Official payback. I don't know what type of channels you used to going to, but yeah, I'm here for the smoke. I want to see what your lineup is. Crim's Dad says because Towns at the 4 didn't bring Minnesota to the Western Conference Finals. Could I comment on that, Crim's Dad? What brought Minnesota to the finals was, one, they had the number 1 ranked defense, right? That had nothing to do with Towns being at the 4. That had everything to do with the fact that they had a really good defensive lineup. And honestly, their best defensive performance, Crim's dad, was when Towns was at the 5 and he played with Slow-Mo, I think, started at the 4. That was their best defensive lineup in that series when they shut Denver down. Now, I believe that was game 2 that year, for the record. Also, Towns at the 4, individually, those were his worst years statistically. His best years are at the 5. I already went through this already, guys. You guys want to go down the rabbit hole of Karl-Anthony Towns, but the same guys who thinks that Towns is better at the 4, I don't know where you get that from. It's just not true. But if Ant-Man was on the Timberwolves when Towns was in his younger days, I think the Wolves would be a better team. Let's not act like Ant-Man ain't a huge difference maker on anybody's team. If I had Ant-Man to any team, and then also, let's not act like the Knicks didn't go to the Eastern Conference Finals with Towns at the center spot with a coach that a lot of you guys don't like. So it goes both ways. Okay, but official payback. Hopefully you're not trolling, man. I want to see what's your lineup. Let's see. Knicks will be chance says every single team saw what Kolek was and potential is still passed on them. There's a reason why he was the 34th pick in the draft as a point guard. He's not very good. Okay. Well, I'm not saying that Kolek has to be the guy. I'm worried about the 2 guard spot. Knicks will be champs, to be honest with you. I disagree. Knicks will be champs. We have the components to run faster. You just don't like those components. I'm not saying you directly Knicks will be champs. The components for us to run faster would be to start Clarkson or Deuce at the 2. That makes us a faster team. Mikal at the 3, OG at the 4. That makes us a faster team. But Towns at the power forward position does not make us a faster team. Man, official payback. I think you trolling, man. We might have to get you up out of here, man. I thought you was going to have a good conversation. Where you at? Start Yabu. You know what, Khaled? I wanted to start Yabu, but they convinced me that Yabu is not a good defender on the perimeter. And he's not good in pick and roll scenarios, right? And he's not really an upgrade to what OG and Anunoby would give you at the 4. The only thing Yabu can do that OG might struggle at, and I'm not going to say OG struggles at it because you rarely see it, is guarding the post-ups. You know, guarding like big forwards posting up. Yabu can do that. He has the size to keep those big guys out. And he has a 7-foot wingspan, 7'1" wingspan, Yabu Sali. But they convinced me to not start Yabu. Yeah, they convinced me. I'm going to get to Kolek in a second, y'all. Trust me, y'all going to like my Kolek take in a second. Let me, I'm going to move on. Now we moving on to Summer League game. I just had to start with the press conference. I'm going to move a little fast because remember at 9 o'clock, I will be on Still Knick Fans. So make sure you guys are in the building for that. It's going to be a doozy. You can play fast and play 5 out with Yabu. Now, I agree, Khaled. It's just that they convinced me that that Yabu is not necessarily a better option than OG. Right? I think OG can give you solid, because you're not, remember, the power forward position is the weakest position in basketball, right? And most of the power forwards are perimeter centric, which works into OG Anunoby's wheelhouse. So I want to talk about Summer League. Now, Tyler Kolek, right? Summer just got a lot of pressure on Kolek, right? And honestly, I'm going to say this. I don't think that the pressure got to Kolek, right? Or there's any real pressure on Kolek. Let's just keep it real, guys. The Summer League team, right, was announced. Hold on, let me see if I got it right here. The Summer League team, when was the roster announced? Okay, so on July 8th, right? Or July 7th, the Summer League roster was announced, right? And basically, we just added our 4 rookies from last year and a whole bunch of other guys that wasn't even with the team. So this team was just thrown together. Tyler Kolek is a system player, right? He has to be in the system. And this is not Brink's fault, the coach. This is not his fault. This is nobody's fault, right? We fired Coach Tibbs, had to pivot, had to find another coach in scramble mode, went into the moratorium period, something that you never see. You never see a team go into the moratorium period without a coach, right? So everything was just kind of last minute thrown together, if you ask me, because as early as July 4th, there were teams that had full rosters. Like they had their full summer league roster. We announced our full summer league roster on July 7th, right? So this was kind of some last minute stuff. No philosophy, right? Brink had no time to, talk with Mike Brown about anything. So Kolek is not somebody who goes out there and is a one-on-one assassin, right? Some guys are just one-on-one dudes. You put them in any system, they're going to shine. Kolek is system pick and roll, right? Because the pick and rolls were terrible. I mean, it just was no system. You could tell that team was just put together, right? So I don't think that putting pressure on Kolek, people talking about trade Kolek and, Kolek's not that good, right? To people in the chat. Give the brother some time, bro. First of all, Summer League is not a barometer of anything. There's been players that have been great that had terrible Summer Leagues, a la Jalen Brunson. I honestly thought that Kolek and Ariel shouldn't have played the Summer League. I feel like with those two, you already kind of know what you got. I'd rather see some of these other guys that's on the team, right? Let me see who we got. We got Lucas Skuka, the forward, Lance Ware, who's a big man. Ariel not being there, more of these big guys could have got time. I think Nanji only played a couple of minutes in the last Summer League game, right? Some of these other guys, I would like to see them get more time, right? Jamal Bay, whoever these guys is, Dink Pate, right? Even though I'm not sure if he's a point guard, but he might be. He's listed as a guard. But some of these other guys could have got more light, right? So I just don't think the pressure that's placed on Kolek is right. Hold on, let me see if I could. Knicks Celtics Summer League box score. Summer League box score. I want to look at the last game. We're not going to talk about the other game because we kind of talked about it on the last call-up show. That was the game against the Pistons where, it definitely. Listen, the basketball in Summer League was some of the worst basketball I've seen. I mean, on these Knicks games were just not. I mean, I put it in the Discord server. I felt like this was a waste of time. I wasted like an hour of my life watching these games. I mean, just you could tell, like I said, they just threw the team together. But look, some of these guys like Nanji, I would love to see him get 20 minutes, right? He only got 9 minutes. Diarra got good time, right? Dink Pate got some good time. Devon Grant, I don't really know much about. Is he a guard too? I think he is a guard. I think he hit a 3. Hold on. Devon Grant, I think he is a guard. Yeah, he is a guard. Yeah, let Devon Grant run the show, right? Let some of these other guys get some light. Because if you're gonna play guys 2 minutes and 3 minutes, you're not gonna know what they're gonna bring to the table. Like for some of these guys, this is the only opportunity they get to show you, what they're working with. So, I honestly felt like Kolek shouldn't even be there, especially getting 29 minutes. So a lot of you guys are looking like, well, damn, Kolek, he had a bad showing. He's 1 for 3 from the field. I don't really give a damn about none of that. I don't care about stats in the Summer League game, to be honest with you. I'm more so concerned about, how the game is being played. And the number one most impressive guy to me is Kevin McCullough Jr., okay? Not because he had 30 points. It's because, one, he shot 10 or 15 from the field. That's hell of impressive, right? With no system, no structured offense. Just roll out the ball and go. I didn't realize that Kevin McCullough Jr. was that good of a playmaker for others and for himself, right? He did have 6 turnovers, right? But it was sloppy basketball. sloppy basketball. But he did have a nice alley hoop dunk. I think that was to Ariel at one point in the game. And the fact of the matter is that he plays defense. I love the 8 personal fouls. I like it. So some people, they think it's an eyesore. I'm like, man, that means you playing some defense, right? I like the Diarra kid too. He has some versatility in his game. I like the fact that he can, create an attack off the rebound, bringing something different to the table. The Knicks, we definitely don't have that on the roster. Precious tried to do a little bit of that. I'm not sure if Yabu Sali does a lot of that. He might, I don't know. But I like the crashing and creating off the dribble. And to Coach, if you're listening, because he asked me on the call-up show, what is Diarra's official position? Is he a 4 or 5? Based on what I saw, I would say Diarra is a 4. He's a 4. Even though he's 6'10". If you're going to, in a small ball scenario, like if he has to go up against Obi Toppin, it works. He hustles. He definitely tries to make it happen. I like Diarra. Now, would I give him the rookie spot? Because, we have a veteran minimum that we could sign. We have to sign 2 players. And we have about $3.7 million approximately to sign 2 guys. We only could sign a rookie, an actual rookie, not Kevin McCullough Jr. I looked into it. We cannot sign Kevin McCullough Jr. to a rookie contract because he already played last year. His minimum, Kevin McCullough's, will be 1.6, right? Diarra, his minimum cap hit would be 1.1, and then you could bring in the veteran for the normal 2.2 cap hit. So I don't know if Diarra, I don't know if he is somebody who I would sign with that. There's a kid in Summer League that plays with the San Antonio Spurs named Jones Garcia. He's Dominican. He is a problem. They put him at point guard. He's not even a point guard. He was making plays. He's a free agent. I looked into it. If I'm the Knicks, I'm contacting San, but that's me. I'm not the GM. But I don't really like none of these guys to sign to a rookie minimum. I'm gonna keep it 100,000%. Maybe Diarra, but I'm more so thinking Diarra on the 2-way. Nanji, I can't really say much about Nanji because we don't see a lot of him. He is very raw though, Nanji. He needs more time to develop. I just don't know if I would send him to the G League. I think Nanji needs to stay in this country another year, get his weight up, and then come back, if you ask me. Maybe he could do well in the G League, but if I can spare an extra spot and just have him stay where he was at, let Nanji work out there, and then send him back. All the rest of these guys not getting enough time. They're not getting enough time to really show much. I'm hoping they shut down Kolek and Ariel. Ariel's giving you 9 and 13 with 3 blocks. I didn't like the 5 turnovers, but once again, no system, right? No system. Trying to think, is there anything else in Summer League I want to talk about? Like I said, if you want to hear the Pistons breakdown, you can go watch Friday's call-up show. Let me see what you're saying in the chat before I proceed. Diarra only getting the rookie contract. Yeah, he could. He could. Chris says Nanji might be trade bait. You think so? Nanji doesn't want to play in the G League. But that's why I would send Nanji back to his country for one more year. Let me see. Okay, you guys are talking about having a conversation. Let me see. Size 9. Say right about the time, Roy. Okay. What are you talking about? Other content creators? I don't care about to talk about other content creators. Let me see what else you guys talking about. We're talking about basketball. Crims that, of course, you got to come in talking about how handsome Walsh is. Oh my God. Nanji, he calls his turnovers. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real. Size 9. I haven't seen enough to know enough about Nanji. I haven't seen enough to know if if he's warranted, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, based off the little I seen, I would not sign him to the rookie minimum. I would sign him to a two-way. No, he doesn't. HRM. He technically does not have to get the rookie. They could sign another player from another team who's a rookie. As long as they hadn't played a year, they can get the same rookie contract. Rookie contracts are for rookies, even if they're undrafted, even if they're playing for another summer league team. Okay. I'm not seeing the Diarra. The Diarra. Okay, I like Diarra. Diarra could get signed. Yeah, the Diarra could get signed. But Nanji needs time. Diarra, if they say, yo, we're going to sign Diarra to the rookie minimum, I'm not mad at it. I'm going to keep it real. I wouldn't be mad at it. I still didn't see a lot of them, but I seen enough to know that, okay, his game will translate. He's not going to be in a rotation, but you just never know, right? He might be in a situation where you need him, and he could just step right in. You know, he can handle off the rebound, which is something, like I said, we don't have on this team. This would be chance says he has potential. Yeah, right now, this would be chance. Like your name indicates, we're trying to win a championship. We don't really got no time for no damn potential. You feel what I'm saying? We don't have time for potential. I'm sorry, guys. It sounds cute. We're not a rebuilding team. We're trying to get to the finals. If you can't help me get to the finals this year, I don't have time to wait for you to develop. Sorry. That's all for Summer League. I mean, oh, you know what? I did like Pacome Dadier's aggressiveness too, right? Because I was highly, I'm not going to say highly. I was critical of him on the call-up show because I'm like, yo, he's in the corner. I'm like, dude, you're the only first-round pick here. Like, you should be commanding the ball and being more creative, right? And he did that. Even though he didn't shoot well, 3 of 11 from the field, but I did like his aggressiveness, especially earlier on. He just didn't shoot well, right? He did also have 6 rebounds, which is incredible to me. I love it. 6 rebounds from a small forward, I'm taking it any day of the week. And he only had 1 turnover, despite being a minus 17. This is a game, don't even look at the plus minus because it just was not good. It just was not good. But Kolek will be all right. Don't let this, 4 turnovers, 4 assists, don't let that fool you. Kolek is a system-oriented player, okay? So I'm going to move on to some hot topics. All right, move on to some hot topics. And by the way, if you just joined the show, this is This Week Inside the Knicks, episode 6 of the 2025 all-season edition. These are some of the topics we're talking about. We're going to talk about the hint that Giannis may have dropped that may lead to a trade this summer, right? And then we already spoke about Mike Brown. We just spoke about Summer League. Now I'm going to jump into some of these other topics and move. By the way, like I said, after this show ends, I will be transitioning directly into Still Knicks fans. So hopefully you guys will be in the building. And we're going to have a powerful show. I'm doing a doubleheader tonight. Let me see. All right, let me continue moving. Wow. So, all right, that's the Summer League stuff. All right. So, what I want to touch on, Bradley Beal. If the Knicks wanted to, they could get Bradley Beal because during the summer, you're allowed to sign players that's bought out, even if they have over $14 million. I'm not sure if you guys remember, I did an off-season guide to the Knicks, and I spoke about this $14 million rule right here. But during the summer, it doesn't matter. So the Knicks could sign Bradley Beal, right? I don't think we are, but we could sign him if he was to become if he gets bought out. And he's willing to come here and, we could work out that deal if we wanted to. Let's see. I don't really care to talk much about that. Hold on, Crims. I just glanced in the chat. Did I get smoke of the week? Comment of the week? Did I mention Kolek just passed his career way? Crims Dad, not this week, my brother. I'm sorry you did not get comment of the week. But some other channel members are sort of featured in this week's comment of the week. No worries. I'll get to that towards the end of the show. You know what? Well, Precious, okay. So I'll slightly touch on this. Precious, he bought a big house in Miami. Could this be a precursor to his fate? Could this be a prelude to his fate? Will Precious Achua join the Miami Heat? Look at this. He bought a 2-bedroom, right? 2.5 bed condo. He living a bachelor lifestyle. Just 2 bedrooms, right? 2.5 bath. He got more bathrooms than bedrooms. That's some bachelor stuff. At a 5-part Miami Beach, a 519-foot high, 48-story residential tower. So he got a nice little joint in this condominium right here. So will Precious go to the Heat? Why Miami? I don't know. Just wanted to highlight that. Nothing more to that. We don't know where he's going. Wish Precious the best of luck. He will not be returning to the Knicks, guaranteed. And I do want to touch on this. Okay, this is what I touch on. So these are some of the guys that remain that we could actually sign, right? We know we brought in Yabusele. I got the pronunciation right. Salute to me. Hold on. Yabusele. I got it right, y'all. Yabusele. You know I'm not the best with foreign names. But after signing Yabusele to the mid-level exception and also signing Jordan Clarkson, we have room to sign another veteran on waivers. I'm not sure. Was Brogdon signed? I'm not sure if Brogdon was signed. But I will say this. If Brogdon is available still, 6'5". You see this? 6'5". Yo, honestly, y'all, I think I want Brogdon. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold up. Wait a minute. Malcolm. Damn, I just had the name right there. Hold on, let's pull him up right now. I just want to see what he was shooting. What was he shooting from 3? That's all I care about. 40% from 3? Oh, no. Okay, I got too hype. Oh, my God. I almost had a heart attack. Oof. That was his first year. He had a down year this year. He only played 13 games, though. But look, the year before that, he's shooting 41%. Yo, how you guys feel about Malcolm Brogdon? Yo, honestly, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I would bring in Brogdon. You could bring him off the bench, whatever. I might, if he can still hoop, I might start him. That's going to sound crazy. What do you mean, Karan? You wilding out. Why would you start Malcolm Brogdon? If he can shoot 40% from 3, we know he's a good defender. He's 6'5". He can play both guard positions. But Mikal Bridges moves to the 3 and becomes an all-star. OG Anunoby can stay at the power forward spot. I'm liking this. I'm liking Brogdon. Well, let's see what happens. I'm not sure if he got signed. He might not be available. This guy, I will not mention this guy's name. I highlighted. I refuse to mention his name again. I did a video. By the way, go watch that video I did on why the Knicks should not sign Ben Simmons. Stay far away from Ben Simmons. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to see that name anymore. Landry Shamet. Do y'all want Shamet back? Would you consider starting Shamet with Brunson? Hart to the bench with Clarkson, Deuce. Would you guys consider that? I want a 2-guard. I'm keeping it real. I think that's what we're missing. I think that's the only thing this team needs is a real 2-guard that can make plays and preferably knock down the 3-ball at a 40% clip like Marcus Smart did last year when he was with the Wizards. So Marcus Smart is a guy we spoke about before. Chris Paul, that's not happening. So these are some of the guys that's available. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. The guy who I'm most intrigued about, well, of course, Marcus Smart, but I like Malcolm Brogdon, 6'5". 6'5". I think he's a go. He averaged 15 and 4. Okay. And never played more than fewer. Look at this. Look at the key here. But has never played more than 67 games in the season. So yeah, that means that you can't start him. You can't. Yeah, Brogdon couldn't start. He'll probably fall apart. Well, Tibbs is not here no more, so I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect, man. I don't know what to expect, but I think that's all I'm gonna talk about for free agency news. Once again, like if you see anything on the screen that you wish I would have clicked, all you gotta do is go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com and you'll be able to see all the stuff. Speaking of thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, I want to show you guys really quick something else you guys could check out. I got a list of discounted Knicks merch here. All this stuff is at a discounted rate. So go to on the blog, click on discounted Knicks merch, right? This week it's at the same website, and you'll see some discounted stuff, right? I just caught this white Z hat right here. It's right behind me. Don't want to take it off the shelf. But yeah, some of this stuff here is some good quality stuff, y'all. Go check it out. All right. Let me see you guys talking about in the chat. Save that money. I don't think we need anything. We don't have no money to spend. We only have $3.7 million. So that's not really much to save. Next play mentality, Marcus Smart. That's the guy I want. Size 9 said, very times do players be exactly what you saw on tape in college? Facts. That's why I don't really weigh it too much, because it's a different level. Randu, if Brogdon can shoot 35% from 3, I'll be happy. Facts. McCullough's exactly who I thought he was. Dude, could McCullough start? Now, here's the thing. Now, here's the tricky part with McCullough. Like I was mentioning earlier, McCullough is not a rookie. So if you sign McCullough, he would count as a veteran. Okay? Even though he's a young player, he would count as a 1-year veteran, right? Not a rookie. A rookie is somebody that never played. He played 4 games. So that automatically disqualified. Also, he was on a 2-way contract. So if you're on a 2-way contract, played a game, was under contract, you're automatically not considered a rookie as far as, let me show you what I'm talking about, because it's kind of technical. Let me show you really quick what I'm talking about. Oh, damn. Hold on. Let me get it. Okay, let me show you real quickly. This is what I'm talking about. So right here, this $3.7 million in space, that's all we got left. But when you look here, right, you see the term cap hit. You see the cap hit? Cap hit is what accounts to the cap. So Jordan Clarkson, you see the 2.2? That's a typical veteran minimum. So a player that played up into, I think, 8-9 years, their cap hit, their minimum would be 2.2. Well, he's getting paid 3.6, but the cap hit is 3.2. It's 2.2, right? So what they're getting paid doesn't always reflect to what actually counts towards the cap. So Malcolm Brogdon, whatever other guy they sign, their cap hit will be more than likely 2.2, okay? If they sign a rookie, the cap hit will be much less. I think 1.1 to 1.2. Okay, so that's why we have the ability to sign a veteran and a rookie. So if you sign McCullough Jr. and it's here, look, basically this is what he'll get. You see the $2 million? That's his cap hit. So his would be slightly under the 2.2. But now you cannot sign a veteran like DeLon, like Campaign. Not to say we're going to sign these guys. I'm curious to see what Leon Rose does with McCullough Jr. Do you bring him back on a 2-way? Did they offer it? Did they offer him the qualifying offer? I'm not even sure. I didn't read that he was offered the qualifying offer, but that's a good one. I think honestly, if they don't sign him to a 2-way, I think this will come into effect. Especially if they don't sign another veteran. So I don't know what Leon's going to do with Kevin McCullough Jr., but it's very interesting. It has some cap implications depending on what you want to do with McCullough Jr. Let me see what else you guys talking about before I moved on. Okay, Brogdon, yes, I know he never wanted to be here. Yes, I know. HIM. Yeah, good point. Good point. Chef says, what happened to Moses Brown? Chef, you tell me. See, the NBA is deeper than just playing the game. It's a whole side that we don't see, where it's politics. Because how many of you guys remember Alonzo Trier? I always thought he was nice. Never made it in the league. Could play, could drop 20 on any given night. He was dropping 20 off the bench. Couldn't make a team. Moses Brown, you see the domination. Didn't finish with a team. He went to Dallas. He went to Indiana. Didn't finish with a team. I don't know what happened to Moses Brown. I don't know. I don't know why these guys don't get a shot. All right, so let me move on to hot topics. Move on to hot topics. Get moving, okay, cool. We talked about Summer League. All right. So, smoking hot topics. I want to talk about where they predict the wins. So, you know, there's a lot of predictions and stuff going on early, right? And so Sports King pegged the Knicks win total at 52.5 after switching coaches, right? This is the franchise second highest over under this century, right? The last win total was 53.5. Only 4 teams have a higher win total than the Knicks. Of course, this is, you know, basically the bookies telling us who they think would win the many games. Of course, this is about betting. But the reason why I like to look at this stuff is because the bookies are mostly right. They're not always right, right? They're not always right, but they're mostly right. So when the bookies say bring out these numbers, it's not their opinion. They got all types of research and stats, right? It's a lot that goes into this stuff. But right now, there are only 4 teams in the league that have a higher over-under than us, right? The Thunder, of course, has the best at 62.5. I think they'll probably win 65-plus games. I think the Thunder are going to be just as dominant this year, even with I'm going to say a better top-heavy Western Conference. Cavaliers, 55.5, right? They're the only Eastern Conference team with a higher win total than the Knicks. So right now, it's Cavs, Knicks, Cavs, Knicks, Cavs, Knicks. Does that mean it will finish like that? I strongly think that us and the Cavs will be the top 2 seed. I don't see why we couldn't overtake the number 1 seed, especially with the East being as depleted as it is. But look at some of the other teams. The Rockets, 54.5 wins. The Nuggets, 53.5 wins are the only teams that have a better win total than the Knicks. A lot of high expectations for the Knicks. I'm digging it because my expectations is high. I could care less about the win total as much as I care about making it to the finals. We have to make it to the finals this year. If the Knicks do not make it to the finals this year, I expect to see some real changes. I don't think you go into the second apron without going into the finals. To me, it's like hustling backwards, right? And then if you want to look at it in tiers, so ESPN has the tiers, right? Tier 1. Anything short of the finals is failure. Cavs, Knicks, right? And then, of course, these are the other teams in tier 2, which are good teams. Orlando, Atlanta. Okay, I didn't mean to click on that. But those teams right there, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta is the 4th seed. I'm going to keep it real. I wouldn't be surprised. Philadelphia is another team you got to watch out for. Now, the long shots, Boston, I got Boston as a playing team personally. Detroit Pistons, I think the Detroit Pistons belong in this tier up here. Milwaukee, we're going to talk about Giannis in a second. I think Milwaukee's a sinking ship. But that's the tiers, okay? I do want to talk about Josh Hart as well. Josh Hart, I hinted towards that, right? Let me just check my topic list. We didn't talk about Giannis yet. We'll get to that soon. We talked about Mike Brown. We talked about Summer League. Now we're talking about Josh Hart. Okay, cool. So Josh Hart problem the Knicks will face under Mike Brown. Now, I hope Josh Hart doesn't become disgruntled because, you know, I'm not saying Josh Hart is a problem. but he's kind of known for being a little, difficult. Okay. And I hope, because Tibbs is his guy. He was a Tibbs guy. He loves Tibbs. But now Mike Brown is here. And it's looking like Hart will not be in the lineup. However, I do see a world where Hart stays in the starting lineup. I could see that happening. He's a great rebounder, right? Not the greatest defender. I wouldn't say Hart is a liability on defense. I mean, it puts the pressure back on Mikal, because now Mikal still has to, do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of guarding elite perimeter-centric guards. But, hey, you just never know. But I do think that there's a situation where, like it says here, his minutes could shrink, right? We know he was the minutes leader this past season, playing 77 games, right? And he averaged 13.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, 5.9 assists a game, 6 assists. Yo, that 6 assists could probably turn into 8 under Mike Brown if he starts. But the projected starting lineup is up in the air. We know that Brunson, OG, Mikal, unless Mikal is definitely going to be a starter unless you're getting him up out of here. And Towns, definitely those 4 will be in the starting lineup. But Knicks could use the 5th slot on Deuce. Like, hey, I like that idea, right? The double big lineup is another option. I don't think that that's going to work for what they're trying to do if they're trying to really increase pace. But hey, if Mike Brown has a plan, I'm willing to see him work through it, right? But I like McBride as the 2 right now. Like, if I had to pick on the team 2 guard, I'm going with McBride. I think that he's just super athletic. He's super fast. He can, handle the ball, make plays. Yeah. But is Hart okay with that? If you know Josh Hart, he's all about the team. He accepted the bench role in the playoffs without the drama. He plays hard no matter what, how long. But going from playing more minutes than almost everyone in the league to a more contained role is no small adjustment, physically, emotionally, or mentally. At the end of the day, Hart is a warrior. He may be fine. But I will say this. There was a clip, right? There was a clip of Hart saying, I'm a starter in this league. Hart was willing to go to the bench for his man, Coach Thibodeau. He doesn't know Mike Brown. Will he be willing to do that for Mike Brown? I don't know. Also, I'm not going to say he doesn't know Mike Brown. I don't know if he knows him or not. I just know that he never coached him. And so it'll be curious to see what happens. But if Mike Brown's like, you know what? We got Yabusele. We got Jordan Clarkson. In my system, I prefer those 2 guys to get the majority of the minutes. Ooh. Could get dicey. Could get dicey. Let's see. Got some more stuff here. I do got to talk about this. So Knicks keep paying the price from prying Jalen Brunson away from the Mavericks. So it was recently reported that the Knicks requested permission to speak with Dallas assistant Jay Triano about the associate head coach opening. And then this marks the second time the Mavericks have foiled the Knicks' attempts to fill out their staff. So they pretty much said, hell no. And so why do we keep playing around with other teams' coaches, man? You got these guys under so much pressure. Oh, my God. But I just had to mention that story. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to jump in the flagship, y'all. Let me jump in the flagship. Y'all. I know that's what y'all been waiting for. Let me see. I just want to read a couple of comments. I'm jumping the flagship. Hart still has a purpose on this team. Okay. Hart said he has no problem coming under me. He did say that, but he also said he's a starter in this league. Salute to the OG Knick fan in the building. I see you. He says Hart is under contract. He has to do what the coach say. Yeah, but he could also ask for a trade if it gets to that point. Knicks made a huge scene about bringing the entire Dallas front office. It's crazy. Oh, Milwaukee, they're about to sign, what's the point guard that just got bought out? Cole Anthony. I don't think he helps them defensively, but he does help them. He's a good playmaking guard. Let's see. Patman McCullough can become Tatum and Brown. Okay, size 9. I don't know about that. Tatum and Brown were third picks in the draft, right? Pac-Man was the 25th pick. McCullough was the 50-something pick, right? There's no way I would make that comparison between those two guys. They just were not highly touted the way Brown and Tatum was. I would love for that to be true, but I severely doubt it. So I'm going to jump into flagship, but before I jump into flagship, I do want to take you the time to show you guys shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com so you guys can check out some of the merch, man. Listen, right now, the mugs are selling like hotcakes. This is the latest merch that I have on the channel. Working on some new designs, but right now we still rocking with Captain 11 and as a nice tribute and honor to our captain, right? And also I got the Bodega cat shirts, the Bodega. Everybody loves the Bodega. This is a head turner, but everybody loves the mugs, right? The t-shirts is fire too. Everybody was loving the t-shirt when I was down south. They was like, yo, man, that shirt is fire. I'm like, I thank you, man. I designed it, right? So, you could check out these designs on shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com or shop.theobjectiveknicksfan. You could even get it from the link that's on the screen. But this is the best seller. The Captain 11 mugs with the New York City skyline on the inside, right? This is the best seller right here. Go cop, you guys. Go get yourself a mug, man. Get yourself a nice little white tee, right? We got it in white. And, support the channel, man. I do appreciate all the people that do support and cop from the merch store. But, yeah, it's lit. Trust me, you wear the Bodega cat shirt, man, they're going to be like, yo, where you got that from? I actually, I forgot to mention that. I went to the fight on Saturday. By the way, first off, salute to New York City, man. We held it down. There was 2 wonderful boxing events that took place. The ladies on Friday, ladies night at Madison Square Garden. I think it was a sellout. Amanda Serrano, all right. Even though she lost, it was a great fight. And of course, I was in Queens on Saturday, right, at Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, the tennis stadium for the Shakur Stevenson and Belonga, the Belonga debacle. Oh my God. Crazy in there. But you know what? Kings County still stand up, even though the brother lost. I forgot to mention that early on in the pod. But I'm gonna jump into flagship. And flagship is Giannis, man. And now listen, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, Giannis is getting on my nerves. Getting on my nerves. You guys don't understand how bad I want to sign Giannis, okay? You guys don't understand how bad I want to sign Giannis. I'm not going to name any names. But if Giannis is willing to come to the Knicks, I am willing to trade anyone, but not everyone. It's a difference. Anyone, but not everyone is a difference. There's reports. 1 week, we talk about it. Oh, Giannis he's open to hearing, seeing about other teams. Trades. Next moment, he wants to stay in Milwaukee. But recently he did a show, right? And he made some very, very interesting comments, right? Very interesting comments. So he says this on the show. A lot of people try to convince me to join the Knicks, right? And this is the exact quote. A lot of people try to convince me to go there and stuff, right? When asked if he was staying in Milwaukee, this is what he replied. Probably, we'll see. I love Milwaukee. Probably, we'll see. A lot of people try to convince me to go to New York and play there. Why are you playing with our emotions, John? You know that there's teams right now that didn't sign free agents and are making adjustments just in case Giannis decides that he wants to get traded. Do you know that? But every week I got to deal, and this is by the way, this is the footage here of him. Every week I got to deal with this stuff. It is good to hear him speak on it versus, reports, people saying, oh yeah, Giannis this, that, and the third. But at the same time, it's annoying as hell, man. But what do you guys think? Is that a hint? We know that I think he bought a house in New York or something like that. No. But we all know the comment that he also made about the Euros going to the big markets. He wants to see Luka in LA, Jokic in New York. I would love to see Jokic in New York. But don't be surprised if you see Jokic and Luka in LA. The Milwaukee Bucks are not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Hold on. Then the host, he said that the taxes were bad. The New York taxes are bad, bro. Because he lives in Florida. He has a house in Florida. I thought he bought a house in New York, but I think the house he bought was in Florida. He might also have a house. He probably got houses everywhere. He's Giannis. He's super rich. But he was trying to say the taxes are bad in New York. Listen, when you're making, see, here's what people don't understand. I'll bring it back to Hartenstein. I knew that Hartenstein going to the OKC Thunder would be a successful move. That wasn't never what my contention was. I know that I have contention. My point was that he's not going to get the entire $89 million or $87 million. He's not going to get it. He's only going to get the 2-year, 29, because you already seen they signed Jalen Williams and they signed the other brother, right? Chet. There's not going to be no money left next year to sign Hartenstein. So all I was saying was he would have got more with New York because 4 for 72 beats out 2 for 59. And you help the Knicks win a championship because that's our goal too. You're going to be a bigger star in New York than you ever could be in OKC. Because I'm sorry, Hartenstein, you didn't raise your profile going there. Your profile is actually big because of your time you spent in New York. So to bring it back to Giannis, who gives a damn about taxes when you're in the biggest market and you're the biggest star? You're going to make and generate way more money than you ever would in Milwaukee. The deals, Dolan has Wall Street connections. Listen, you would be tapped in and into a whole bigger situation than you would ever could imagine in Milwaukee. So this is a very, very big deal. Now, remember when I said that teams are holding off on giving extensions and making certain moves because they're holding out hope that Giannis may be available? This brother right here is one. Mikal Bridges might be holding off on the Knicks extension for one huge reason, right? And that is because the Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? And salute to Mikal Bridges, right? He was in Summer League, both games, and he was sitting with Rose and those guys in the first game. And so I think that there's not going to be no issues there. Because if you're having contract disputes, you're not showing up to Summer League, right? But Mikal Bridges might be following in Larry Markkanen's footsteps, right? Assuming this, okay, Knicks, the day Knicks fans and Bridges have circled is August 6th. The NBA trade deadline is almost, the NBA trade deadline almost always falls on the first Thursday in February, right? If it follows that trend this coming season, it will land on February 5th. Assuming this holds, Bridges will be trade eligible before the deadline if he signs the extension by August 5th. That timeline allows at least 6 months to pass prior to February 5th. Bridges can guarantee that he will remain in New York next season if he accepts the extension on August 6th or anytime after. So you may not be able to trade Bridges if you were to sign him, okay, before that time. Right? I'm sorry, or after that time, sorry. Okay? So this deal, like I said, this potential Giannis trade is holding up the Bridges extension, 100% guaranteed. Okay? And if he signs the deal, here's the other major part to it, right? So signing Bridges to a new deal now removes him from the table of players who could sign it. I'm sorry, players who sign the extension cannot be traded. So that's okay. So hold on to that as well, right? Because Bridges might be a key piece in this Giannis trade. So Giannis literally is holding up the entire NBA, okay? Because they really believe that they could trade for him. All right. Now, here's something that some of you guys may want to hear, because a lot of you guys y'all in the Run It Back club. You can't run it back. You got a new coach, right? Got new pieces, and they might not be done adding to this team. But I do want to share this. Giannis gave an update that's actually fantastic news for the Knicks, right? So this was one of the updates I was telling you about, how he vacillated from wanting to be traded, or this was all reported, to I'm open to be traded. Giannis Antetokounmpo just basically confirmed he'll be a member of the Milwaukee Bucks next season, which likely removes him from the trade block for at least another year. But get this, if the Knicks wait another year, it increases their chances of acquiring him. Okay? Why? The Knicks' best Giannis trade offer will be next summer. Why? Because at the time, the Knicks will be able to deal their 2026 first round pick and their 2033 first round pick. They also will have swaps in 2028, 2030, 2032. That's 5 picks that they can offer in a Giannis trade. Mikal, even if he gets his extension, you can trade him next year. I'm just saying, if you wanted to trade Mikal for Giannis, if you want him to be a part of the package. But a package with Mikal and Mitchell Robinson, with those picks, would be enough to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. Thus, you get Giannis without having to gut your team. I know a lot of you guys would feel good about that. So what do you guys think about that? How much time I got? Okay, I got 10 minutes. I gotta start running through these topics. Damn, I want to get through smoke of the week. Okay. You know what, guys? We might have to skip comment of the week this week. Sorry. I'll touch on comment of the week next week, because I want to get the smoke of the week. I prepared for the smoke of the week, so I need to get to the smoke of the week. So this week's smoke of the week goes to, I'm going to do dog growls, Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin gets the smoke of the week. I'm not sure how many of you guys watch Gil's Arena, or at least watch the clips. But Kenyon Martin, and I'm going to pull up his basketball reference as we talk about Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin made some statements. I don't want to play the video, but I'm just gonna read out some of the things that he said. All right, and this will probably be the last clip I do for the pod. But I'll bring the comments back next week. No worries. I got to get ready for Still Knicks fans. So I'm going to run through this take right quick, right? So Kenyon Martin, one hell of a player, first round pick in the draft, right? Salute to Kenyon. Right? He also was a Knick, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So this whole scenario started with, you know what? Actually, let me show you what the origin of this was, okay? And once again, as I do this smoke of the week, right, I don't want to tear down Mark Jackson, but this has everything to do with Mark Jackson, okay? So I'm not sure if you guys seen this, but Mark Jackson, and I'm pretty sure you guys did, Mark Jackson, he pretty much dropped a clip where he basically was saying, this is the exact quote. This is the clip, right? He says you're more than qualified. Your resume says you're more than qualified. Your body of work says you're more than qualified. So it's easy to get depressed. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get down. It's easy to have doubt and start questioning. I don't know who I'm talking to. You even prayed about it, asked about it, and it didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen for a reason. The worst place to be in this world is outside the will of God. What's yours? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That was the quote. So because he dropped this quote on the same day Mike Brown did his press conference, a lot of people felt like this was a shot towards the Knicks for not signing him, right? So then Kenyon Martin and the Gills Arena class talk about the clip. And they start off by saying this. Once a Knick, right, is not always a Knick. That's not true for everyone. Once a Knick, always a Knick is not true for everyone, right? And I have a problem with that, right? I have a problem with that. Dog growls. First off, Kenyon Martin, even though you play for the Knicks, we don't consider you a Knick. You play for the New Jersey Nets, okay? That's who you play for. And you always throw these sly little remarks to the Knicks. But I do want to educate you that once a Knick, always a Knick. We don't know when it started, right? What we do know is that it's really a term that the fans, salute to you guys, the fans, that we hold on to dearly. And we give love to everybody who played for the Knicks, whether it was 1 year, whether it was 2 years, right? Even New York media buys into it, right? And you hear it on the telecast. Once a Knick, always a Knick. You see it from all of the alumni, the deep alumni. Salute to all the Knicks alumni, right? Which Kenyon Martin is not a part of. He's not a part of the Knicks alumni. He's not there. So I took offense to when he said that it's not true for every Knick. I want to modify the statement. It's not true for you guys that don't claim the Knicks. Kenyon Martin, you acknowledge that you play for the Knicks. Of course, you play for the Knicks, but you do not claim the Knicks. You claim Brooklyn. That's your claim to fame. That's who you want to run with. Cool. But don't try to make it seem as though because Mark Jackson drops this clip that, whether it's for Mike Brown or not, that Mark Jackson isn't a part of the family. Mark Jackson is a part of the Knicks family. Salute to Mark Jackson. He actually doubled back and circled back and played for the Knicks twice. After he says this not true for everybody, he says that Mark Jackson should be the Knicks head coach. Mark Jackson should be the Knicks head coach. And because he's not the Knicks head coach, the once a Knick, always a Knick is just not true. It's cap. It's funny though, right? They asked the question and they said, why isn't Mark Jackson coaching? Gil says, I know why. He's blackballed. Clearly, Mark Jackson is being blackballed by the NBA. There's no valid excuse as to why Mark Jackson is not coaching. Once again, I am not doing this smoke of the week to tear down Mark. Salute to Mark Jackson. Brooklyn Queens, stand up. This is not to tear down Mark Jackson at all. For the record, right? I want to share this though. Okay? So when Mark Jackson, right after he was fired in 2014, there's rumored to be 2 to 3 interviews that Mark Jackson went on. Kenyon Martin, I have a question because I know you guys, more than likely, most of you guys know. Who was the first team? Who was the first team to interview Mark Jackson for a head coaching job in the league? I just want to know, Kenyon. Who was the first coach after he was blackballed? They didn't want him there. Let me take away some of the expectation, Kenyon. The Knicks. We were the first team to offer Mark Jackson the interview. He did not get the job, right? Well, it is what it is. At the time, we know who was running the show in 2016. Was it even Dolan? At this point, he gave him the reins to Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson wanted to go with Derek Fisher. Why? Because he wants triangle offense. That's the reason why Mark Jackson wasn't considered. But he did get the interview. First off, salute to the Knicks for showing up for Mark Jackson, right? It's not the last time the Knicks showed up for Mark Jackson. When Mark Jackson was laid off by ESPN in 2023, right? Or was that 2023, 2024? Anyway, doesn't matter. When he was laid off, who was the first network to offer Mark Jackson a part-time gig? Calling games. By the way, salute to Mark Jackson. He's a very great commentator. He might be a better commentator than he is coach. He's fantastic on the mic. But I'll kill the suspense for time because I got to go shortly. But once again, it was the Knicks. And Mark Jackson turned the job down. He said he was good. It wasn't the right time. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So the Knicks, we offered Mark Jackson his first interview after he was fired for the coaching. Then we offered him a part-time gig calling games after he was laid off by ESPN, right? How about Ewing? Because he also said that why Ewing didn't get an opportunity to coach, right? And then, Gilbert Arenas said, oh, Ewing, they should at least gave him a G League job. They should have at least gave him a G League job. In 2012, the Knicks offered Ewing the job to coach the D League team at the time. This was the Erie Bayhawks. Ewing declined. He said he wanted to coach in the NBA. So Ewing was offered the D League coaching position. No, he did not get the assistant coaching offer, right? But he was offered a coaching job to coach the D League team. Also, Ewing right now works for the Knicks. And honestly, Ewing is on the path, believe it or not, to land a coaching position. Because now he's a consultant, ambassador. You start there, you work your way up. I wouldn't be surprised if Ewing gets an assistant coaching position on this staff because we ain't got no damn coaches right now. Right? He did sign the brother from Sacramento. I didn't talk about that, but they did get a coach that was on Sacramento to join the assistant squad. But, bro, Ewing has a job with the organization. In fact, we talk about once a Knick, always a Knick. Allen Houston works with the organization. John Starks works with the organization. Larry Johnson works with the organization. We gave Phil Jackson, even though he's really a Laker, but he was a Knick first. We gave him the executive job. Mike Woodson was drafted by the Knicks, and he was a coach of the Knicks. Herb Williams was a coach of the Knicks, assistant for multiple years. So when they try to play the game and try to use Ewing and try to use all these things against us, it's a sad attempt, and it's a huge failure. But I want to say this, Kenyon, and I'm going to wrap up on you. It seems like you jealous because he said this on the podcast. He went to the organizations to get jobs and they never gave it to you. Is that why you mad? you don't identify as a Knick. So yes, it's up to the fans and to the players who declare themselves as Knicks. They will always be a Knick. So yes, it's not true for you, Kenyon Martin. For some people, it's not true for, and no, Kenyon, we don't consider you a Knick. All right? That's my Kenyon Martin take, man. Listen, I would love to sneak in. Let me see if I can sneak this in. Hold on. Before I go, I'm not going to be able to get the word on the street, but I'm going to be on Still Knicks Fans channel, y'all. So make sure you guys tune in. As I get ready to wind down, I do want to talk about the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server joining the channel. You know, if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. I just want to talk about the packages real quick. The start a Knicks fan package. One, you get access to the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, which is a server that's a closed server for channel members. And it's a great way to extend the conversation with me. So like, if you think I'm capping on the mic tonight, you could go in the Discord server and see like, I disagree with this, right? Of course, that's not the only thing you get. We have members only live shows, right? I always look for the members' comments. Salute to my members. I see Crim's dad in the building. I see Maxine, the super mod, in the building. She's not only in the building, she's in the room looking at me. Hey, Maxine. Also, anytime I drop surveys, polls, things of that nature, you leave a comment. If you're a member, I make sure I get back to your comment, right? Also, I do this series called the Unfiltered Thought series, where it's just me pretty much just going in, and you know what? I can actually show you guys some of the content that I did. So the last video I did was Charles Oakley, I Hear You, But. Interesting video. And then Julius Randle, That's All You Wanted. So basically some unhinged content with me, like, you know, because sometimes there's just things I don't want to share on YouTube. So you get access to that. You also get access to some more members only lives I'm doing. Hopefully, like I said, tomorrow, if it doesn't rain, I will be outside. So catch me outside. I will be streaming live from the playground, hooping, right? And it's going to be like a Knicks talk in the hoop session, right? Because there's Knicks fans everywhere. So I'm looking forward to starting that tomorrow. And also, members get shouted out and discount on merch, man. But listen, y'all, I want to thank you guys for rocking with me. I do appreciate you. I see you, OG Knick fan, in the building, right? I see you, Crim's dad, in the house. Make sure you guys tune in to Still Knick Fans. I will be on Still Knick Fans in a couple of minutes. Size 9, I see you. Salute to everybody else. Coach, oh, my man, Coach, man. Salute to Coach. I think he lives in Florida, but I think I could have sworn they said he bought a home in New York too, Coach. But salute to you, HRM. Maxine is giving me the signal, so I got to wrap on this point. But I see you guys sometime this week. Well, tomorrow to the members. I see you guys tomorrow. But that's all I got for you guys. And until next time, let's go, Knicks.